presentation at Georgia State. So we've got 3 different GSU departments here today. We all share responsibility for recycling and waste diversion. So we've got the recycling team, which is under sustainability initiatives. We have Office of Research Environmental Safety, which is a unit of research, University Research Services Administration. And then we have property control, which some people might think of as surplus. So we are all going to take turns talking about the different materials that we're responsible for, how to interact with our team, how to find more information. And then at the end of this, we will take some time for Q&A.
Good afternoon. My name is Denitria Wilson. I am the recycling crew supervisor. We are in the sustainability initiatives. We have a 5-person crew, which 5-person crew, and we all go to each building on the campus, collect all the recyclable materials, take to our recycling center to sort everything, and we haul them across all campuses that's here downtown, Clarkston, Decatur, Alpharetta, Dunwoody, and Newton. And we also do green move-in and green goodbyes, and we also have Heart Recycle Week, which we help, I think we hold it like twice a year. So, and we use the centralized waste station, which is multi-stream bins, to help keep everything separated, which helps us also sort it better and more efficiently. So on this flow chart, it shows all 12 materials that we collect. So all the way from cardboard, all the way down to composting. It shows our hauler, and it shows our vendors, which is people that we work with for each stream of recycling. So in fiscal year 25, we diverted over 700 tons of materials. Majority of that came from composting, which we get from our dining halls. But okay, so 171 tons we did from cardboard along. Papers 45, books we did 29 tons. And if you look at the smaller chart, those show the smaller streams of materials that we collected, including cans, cooking oil, glass, the clothing, plastics, and styrofoam. So as you can see, this is our centralized waste station. Jen is standing in front of. This is one of the more in detail ones. So we have plastic bottles, cans, paper, and those are the main ones that we have pretty much everywhere. But in this one, we also have styrofoam and cardboard. And each one also has a landfill bin next to it. So whatever is not considered recyclable can go in the landfill. So in Jennifer's hand, you can see is a small desk side bin, and each individual is responsible for emptying their own. So out of trash and materials that you collect throughout the day, at the end of the day, you can just take it to your area, your centralized waste station, which is normally in the break rooms or in the printer workrooms. And it's not we don't collect from individual offices, but we do collect on each floor for the centralized waste station. So although we have building services, they are responsible for what goes in the landfill, but by us working together, the landfill is different than what we collect, and we don't normally touch those at all. Oh, the recycling team does not enter individual office, nor do they empty individual desk side bins that are found in the hallways.
Awesome. So we want to talk a little bit about the right material type and what we can recycle. What does this look like? So Denitra showed you all that flow chart, which is on our recycling website. the point there is not for y'all to know every single material, but it's to see that we have all these different materials and we have all these different vendors. So the vendors have different expectations of what sort of material they can collect. So the vendors that take plastic bottles don't take paper. The folks that take cardboard don't take our plastic film. And so in order for us to divert the most amount of materials, we have to meet these quality concerns that our vendors have. So plastic bottles, these are very recyclable. This is yes, I see we'll be sharing these slides, but plastic bottles are something that are easily recyclable, but we can only do for the moment plastic bottle 1 and 2. This can be a bottle. It can also be clamshell packaging that your food come in. How do you know if it's 1 or 2? You look on the bottom of your bottle and you will see a small triangle with the number 1 or 2 or 5 or 7, etc. We can only take 1 or 2. Those are the materials that are most easy to recycle. A fun fact is that number 7, so number 1 and number 2, this means a different type of material. This means HDPE or PET, and this tells the manufacturers who are taking this what this material is, what they can do something with. Number 7 actually means other. So 7 is never going to be recyclable anywhere. But if you look on the bottom of your container and you see number 1 or number 2, you can recycle that anywhere on campus that you have a multi-stream recycling bin that says plastic bottles 1 and 2. It does need to be clean and empty. So that means no visible food and drink. So what we tell people is it doesn't mean you got to wash everything out with soap. But let's say you buy a Coca-Cola and you've got 1/3 of a cup left of that liquid at the bottom. You either want to drink it up or you want to pour it down the drain. You don't want to have that liquid sloshing around in that container. It's going to get liquids over everything, and it's going to get contamination. We also get a lot with food, ice, whipped cream, those kind of condiments. We're here to recycle your plastic bottles. We can't recycle your food, right? So we want to be really literal about recycling. And if you've got some crumbs of food, you can put that in the trash can. If you've got dressing from a salad and the dressings all over everything, that's when you need to say, okay, this is really a lot of food here. There's a lot of contamination. I'm either going to now need to scrub it out with soap, or I might say this is too dirty to be recycled, and I'm going to have to put this in the landfill. Recycling is very hands-on and very labor intensive. So as Anisha was saying, we pick up our materials from the buildings, we bring them to the recycling center, we hand sort everything, and then we send them to another vendor who similarly hand sorts them and gets them where they need to be. So plastic bottles is the biggest source of contamination for our team. There's a lot of, putting on gloves, going through everything, things that end up in the landfill. So the biggest thing folks can do is make sure the plastic bottle bin is really clean and dry and empty of food. A note that cold coffee cups, like if folks go to Starbucks or McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts and get an iced drink in a clear number 5 containers, those are not recyclable under current conditions. We are hoping that will change in the next few years, but for now, number 5 is not recyclable on campus. Cans. So this is, again, similar to plastic bottles. It needs to be clean and empty, no visible food or drink. Again, if you've got a little bit of Coke left over, go and pour it down the drain. Let's say you've got some tuna. Let's say you got tuna in a can. You want to clean that out, and partly for the good of your own colleagues. If we're only coming once a week, y'all are going to also be smelling that food. So if it's something that's going to stink after a couple of days, y'all want to clean that out. But also our team will appreciate if you clean it out, because again, we're going to be going through everything by hand. Some fun facts about cans is that it's actually 95% more energy efficient to recycle aluminum cans than it is to dig underground for virgin materials and make a can from scratch without raw materials. They can be back on the shelf within 6 weeks. And a fun fact for Georgia State is that we have a partnership with a program called Recycle for Good. This is between Novellus and Habitat for Humanity. So every can recycled at Georgia State is sold at market rate, and then the revenue from that actually goes to support Habitat for Humanity. They work all around the world, but they have a specific program where they build houses on the west side. So Georgia State's backyard in downtown Atlanta, and they build houses based on revenue earned from selling cans, not just at Georgia State, but at probably a dozen other partners in Atlanta. And so we have participated with home builds in that. We have houses that have gone to long-term GSU building services employees who, again, this was funded in part by the sale of this. So when you're recycling a can on Georgia State, you are really participating in what we call triple bottom line sustainability. And the idea with that is there's an environmental benefit, there's an economic benefit, and there's a social benefit. So we really love that partnership and are very, very proud of that. With regards to paper, right? We are a university, we got a lot of paper. So we are happy to take your office paper in any color. You have, people sometimes ask us, can I write on it? Yes, you should definitely only give us a paper that you've written on and it has been used up. We can take newspaper as well. We can take some journals and magazines, okay, in moderation. If you're doing a lot of paper, we do ask y'all to remove the binder clips and paper clips. Again, recycling is really literal. So we don't want to be removing those for y'all. If y'all can keep those and try to reuse them, that's great. We hear from people that need to do paper purges. So, hey, we're moving departments, or we have a retiree and they've got a bunch of paper. The best way to handle that is actually to do a work order and let us know, hey, we're going to have a lot of paper. So can you bring us a bin just for paper so that we can dump what we need to? And these bins will be on wheels. You can fill it up to the brim and it'll be a lot easier for folks to manage that. And for us to remove the paper, because paper is so heavy, right? So you've got your little Slim Jim containers, what we call them, to put paper in. Those will fill up a lot. So if you've got a special paper purge, submit a work order for that. I mentioned journals and magazines are okay in moderation. Again, if you have a whole bunch, you've got someone retiring, you've got tons and tons, go ahead and do a work order and let us know, hey, we've got some books that we need to recycle. If you've got paper boards, so that's like if you've got cereal or crackers that you have in the office, that's really thin paper, it's really thin cardboard. You can actually just flatten that and put that in with paper, or you can put it in with cardboard. The company that takes our paper also takes our cardboard, and they can figure it out. Some notes on contamination and what folks can do to prevent contamination. Paper towels and napkins are never recyclable. Paper is recycled. Paper can be recycled 5 to 7 times, and after that, the fibers break down and they can't be remade. Paper towels and napkins are at the end of that cycle. Basically, the fibers are so short that you can't make anything else of it. It's just going to dissolve. And similar, hot coffee cups are not just paper. They are paper and a waxy exterior that prevents the coffee from seeping through. So even though it looks like a hot coffee cup, it actually is, not recyclable. So those are things that you're going to want to keep separately. And then sometimes you have a coffee cup that's compostable. So that is something that should not go in the paper bin. It should either be composted where its facilities are available or just placed in the landfill. Cardboard. So as Nisha mentioned, we get close to 200 tons of cardboard every single year. We ask folks to help us. We have a specialty truck just for cardboard. We are driving this truck around every single day to pick up cardboard. If we miss a day for some reason, people on this call are going to know and be calling me up because there's such a demand for cardboard. And so to help us do this really well, we ask that folks flatten and leave cardboard near centralized waste stations, in their break rooms, or bring it to a cardboard bin on applicable loading docks around campus. Why do we want you to flatten it? 2 reasons. If it's not flattened, a lot of times we'll find is that our team has to take the time to take trash, styrofoam, other materials out of that cardboard box. And so we're trying to hustle to get through. The team might have 60 different locations that they're visiting in a morning, and they got to slow down to take apart a cardboard box, take the material out and flatten it. Whereas if the material's been pre-flattened, they can just grab it and go, and they're able to stay on their schedule. So part of it is that, but part of it is that we see a lot of people say, oh, there's nothing in that box, it's just recycling. And that's almost never the case. It's usually the case that if there's a cardboard box with stuff in it, that stuff actually ends up with a mix of paper, of the recycling and landfill. And so we get a lot of contamination in that. And the boxes have to be flattened before they go in the truck anyway. What I'll tell people is that if you just get a little bit of cardboard every once in a while, you can just put it next to your centralized waste station and we will just pick it up. You don't even have to do a work order to tell us. We will know when we're walking through, hey, there's cardboard, let's go in and grab it. But if you regularly get a whole bunch of cardboard and you're like, guys, I can't have cardboard piling up every single week, you can just submit a work order and request a bin. Just let us know, hey, we get a lot of cardboard in our office. Can we have a bin to collect this cardboard? And we will provide that to you and you'll be able to get that. We don't want styrofoam. We don't want plastic film. We don't want other trash on the side in there. If there's a stickered label on it, you can definitely just leave that on there, like an address label. That's totally fine. And we have a link to designated docks that you can find when this link on our website. This shows where you can bring cardboard if you don't need one in your suite, but you need to know what docks to bring it to. That tells you where that is and how to find that for work orders.
Okay. So the best way that we can work together with us, everyone on this call with my team is the work orders. That's the best way we can collaboratively work together to get things done and get materials collected. So on our website, sustainability.gsu.edu, we have a recycling request, as you can see in the blue box. You click that and use that to open up the work orders. So when you do a work order, we need you to be very clear and descriptive with your language as far as what you need, the specific materials you want to recycle as far as paper, books, e-waste. So what you'll do, you'll pick from the drop-down description menu under the category that best matches whatever you're trying to get collected. So in work orders, especially for example, if you need a bin delivered before you can collect confidential papers. So we have we call those shred bins. So we'll take it to our recycling center to be able to shred it and make sure everything is that you want to be confidential, stays confidential. So when you put in the work order, we need you to be let us know whether you need it back. So if you need a bin removed and that's it, that's fine. Or if you need it removed and replaced so you can keep using it, that's also fine. We just need those. We just need those. We just need that information to clarify what is it we'll need to do on our team, on our side. So please note that we try to service our requests whenever we are in your building for the week. So if we hit every building each week at least once. So if you are able to, we would like for you to submit a work order 3 days prior to the days of service. And if you also look on our sustainability website, it'll show what day your building is to be serviced. And many times you'll probably see us around in the buildings. So if you want to put those work orders in at least 3 days prior, then we'll be able to get it to me so I can delegate it and we can make sure that the team is able to get it in a timely fashion. So as I was saying, if you look up under the when you submit a work order, this shows as far as the title, you can title it whatever you want. A lot of times we put the building and the room number and the materials. So if you see, we've enlarged the category. So if we have confidential bins or secure bins, you'll click that, or the book bins, paper bins, and the book bins are 35-gallon bins. The paper bins are 95-gallon, and they are similar to the ones that you'll see at the end of the street when it's time to pick up trash. So each of these things show what you're able to put in, so we could delegate that on our side. So if you have a request to have a permanent recycling bin that you feel like is in need of in your office space, then there's also an area for the permanent recycling bin for the public areas, and there's also private. But if you have a desk side recycling and trash combo, that's just kind of like a miscellaneous type of request. But either way, you'll submit your email, give us a short description, the room number, and the primary contact. So even when we are in your building, or if we do it, we are able to do it before we get to your building on a specific day, we can call you or contact you just to see if we are able to have access to the area and if anything has changed. So as I was speaking on earlier, this is our shred bin. It has a lock on it, it has a slit in it, so you can place papers in and documents inside. And it's for shredding of the we have an industrial shredder at the recycling center at Center Park Stadium. And for, I guess, tips for using it, we would like for you to remove the binder clips, the paper clips, anything of that nature. And when you need these, you can submit 2 work orders. One is to request it if you don't have sensitive materials often, and the other one would be to remove it after you filled it up. And as you know, you can do that through sustainability.gsu.edu. And this is a temporary solution unless it's maybe at the cashier's office or many admission office that have a lot of sensitive materials that are not designed for year-round use. So an alternative to our shred bins that we use, you can also have the desk side shredders, and you can also outsource the vendors on Panther Mark.
And a quick comment on the desk side shredders is that we can still pick up paper that's been, so some folks are going to say, oh, I only shred, 10 pieces of paper a week, right? So a bin like this isn't really necessary. A desk side shredder is better. We can still collect that material, and you can either dump it directly in your paper bin, or you can bag it and put it on the centralized waste station. And again, you don't even have to do a work order. When we walk by, we will see it. The only thing we require is that the bags be clear. If the bags are black, no one wants to look inside and know what that is, right? We can't just trust that's paper. It's really got to be clear where we can see that it's not contamination before we dump it into paper. So if folks are only doing a little bit of paper every once in a while, desk side shredders are great ways to do that. And then we can recycle that and keep that in landfill just like always. And then sometimes folks are doing so much, have such a huge demand of paper that we can't keep up with it because this is a courtesy service. And that's when we say, when you're doing this much, you're doing tons and tons and tons, an outside vendor is probably going to be a better fit just based on that really, really high demand and the fact that we're juggling this for a lot of different departments, doing the best we can. But, trying to say yes to everybody we do our best, but there's only so much. So.
Okay. So this is a picture of our 35-gallon book bin. And if you have purges that you need for books, as always, you can submit a work order through sustainability.gsu.edu. And if you also have large book purges, you can email us at recycling.gsu.edu. And you can pick a schedule of pickup, and the 35 gallons will be for a small, like clearing out an office or something. But it's also a temporary solution for purchase, but it's not designed for year-round use unless you're maybe in a library setting where they're constantly updating books and something like that. Otherwise, whenever we get a work order for it, we'll know how to delegate it on our end.
Okay, and just to navigate y'all to the website, if you've got future questions, so sustainability.gsu.edu, upper right-hand corner, recycling waste management. We've got information about recycling the state way, information about student and faculty staff recycling, about different events, green move-in, green goodbyes, our textile recycling program with Reloom. We have the service schedule. So if you are wondering, hey, when do they come to my building? You can click on that recycling service schedule and you can see that. And if for some reason, we're supposed to be there on a Thursday and we're not, let us know. There are times when folks move and we don't even know to add them to our route. So it's helpful for us to know. So if we're missing something, we need to know that. We've got a bunch of frequently asked questions that are listed there as well. And then this tab at the top, how to recycle, we have listed every single material we could think of. So if you were to click on that check mark, it would open up and say, how do you recycle these different materials that aren't even just our team, but it's the other teams that are joining us on the call today. It also says some materials that we can't recycle. So people always want to recycle binders. There is no way to recycle binders. People don't even want them as donations because there's such a high demand. So you can, if you've got questions, I would encourage folks to come to this page first, see what we say about how to handle that different material, and keep in mind that sometimes the answer might be put it in the landfill, right? So that's what we've got there as a resource. And if you think of a different material that we haven't addressed, we'll figure that out and add that here. It's a living document that we can update as we need. Yeah, so we've got the contacts here. We're on Instagram as GSU Recycles. And now I'm going to hand it over to Roderick with property control. And Roderick, you are muted.
All right. I'm Roderick Franklin, Senior with Property Control, to handle the other end of stuff that they don't get. I'm handling surplus. We're a team of 9 that serve at every campus we're under finance and administrative, which is purchasing. We address the final steps of property life cycle. Once it no longer has a use for an item, we determine the next best use of that property based on what returns most value to the state. This ensures we have good financial stewards. By keeping this landfill, we also use good environment stewards. Anything that's asset tagged must go through proper control. Items that are not asset tagged but are still considered to be e-waste, furniture, and other items of value based on the possibility of reuse, resale must also go through property control. Excuse me. So, property control is the primary source for electronic waste. All state-owned e-waste must go through surplus, whether or not it's an asset tag or regardless whether it contains sensitive or non-sensitive information. E-waste is anything that plugs in or uses batteries. GSU cannot accept e-waste, personal e-waste item. We can recommend taking personal e-waste to the center of hard to recycle materials, which is CHARM, or participate in local government hard to recycle events. All right. Furniture. Also, property control is the primary source of furniture reuse and disposal. All state-owned furniture must go through proper control, even if it's broken, in order to adhere with state inventory standards. Collective furniture is available for internal reuse on campus or is sold or donated to other government nonprofit entities. Please note, GSU can accept personal furniture. We recommend to donate the personal items to local thrift stores. Refrigerator. Due to chemical inside the refrigerator, they must be properly disposed through us, which is proper control. We will ensure the refrigerators are drained in accordance to state regulations and property disposal to units. If you're looking for new furniture, you can also shop through us. Right now, we're working on getting our website up, but you can personally email me to reach out for furniture. But our location is on Cox campus, and if you want to come visit, it's from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Fridays. And we're located on Cox campus in building CM, which is 1132. Items that are not reused internally are donated to other USG schools or government entities or sold through DOS, which is Department of Administrative Services. And to start to request e-waste or furniture or anything that you deem that you're not in of use, we have a website, which is AccessWorks Software Access. This is what we use. And if you have any question about using it, feel free to come. I'll walk you through, because a lot of people have problem about using the first time. I'll walk you through it to get you started on it. So, once you I seen the link, whatever. But once you log in, you just log into what says log in using SSO. No, you don't have to make an appointment. You just let me know that you're coming. You don't have to make an appointment. Just say, hey, Roger, I want to come out, watch, uh, watch. I want to come see what you have out. And just let me know that you're coming. Don't have to make an appointment. Here's an example of how to create the form. It's long and cumbersome, but like I said before, if anyone wants to, I can personally walk you through how to do it the first time. It's quite simple, but I will walk you through how to do it. Because I can send you I can send you the manual how to do it, but if you don't feel like you is confused about it, I can walk you through it. I'm more than willing to help you walk you through it. To show it to you how to do it. So I'm always open to help you anytime to get you through it. So any question you have, I'm more, I'll put my number in the time email anytime between 7:30 and 4. I'll be open to answer any questions. So, but this is the first. Once you log in, this will be the first form you'll see. And like I said, it's kind of confusing, but I will definitely walk each person through for the first time you do it. So let's go to the next slide, please. That's what it is. Okay, okay, okay. Yes. So also if you want to like if you have items, this is something like vendor returns. Like you have items that you want to trade in for what you have, and then like you want to trade in for something, like you want to trade in for a vendor return transaction must be submitted and authorized to us. It's like you have an older item, but you want to upgrade it, and the vendor is offering you to sell it. To give you a discount on it, just to trade it in. So you will submit the request to me. Request vendor return will be approved by myself, which is surplus, with documentation to benefit us. For instance, the advantage can be discount or new material, cost avoidance or removal disposal of the old property, or a combination. In addition, this requires a formal quote from the vendor. So an example, these are some of the examples, but anything that you have a vendor that you could trade in, these are just a small example, but anything that you want to trade in, that the vendor is willing to trade in to give you a thing, we can do it. We can work through it. So this is just an example of what can be traded, but anything that you got a vendor that they can trade it in, you can use it. And so here's my contact information. Please write it down. I'm the person that runs the asset work. Just remember my number. You can call me anytime. You can email me, and I'll walk you through any questions about what should I surplus or what I can't. Just feel free to call. All right. All right.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stephen Johnson. I'm the Environmental Programs Officer here at GSU. So this section, we're going to cover everything that kind of falls under the Office of Research and Environmental Safety, or ORES, which is under the VP of Research. So we like to work closely with federal, state, and local agencies to maintain compliance with regulations and guidelines, Georgia State University policies, as well as industry standards related to laboratory and environmental health and safety. Our department handles lab and chem safety, biological safety, radiation and laser safety, environmental safety, and research occupational health. Georgia State University is a large quantity generator and must manage hazardous chemicals in compliance with federal and state regulations. Common chemicals that we see that require proper disposal, which would mean not landfill, would be aerosols, solvents, thinners or spirits, acids and bases, latex and oil-based paints, and adhesives and coatings. Please make sure not to dispose of chemicals in regular trash or pour them down the sinks. For spirits, thinners, solvents, and any unwanted or expired chemicals, you can contact ORES to coordinate proper waste pickup or submit a disposal request through Chematics. For paint management, all materials must be sealed, labeled, and kept in a safe storage area until pickup is arranged. This is just an overview of Chematics. This is what the university uses for the chemical inventory system. Everybody can request an account if you have waste that you need to submit. For chem safety, the contacts would be the chemical safety officer, Jamar Simmons, or either of the chemical safety specialist seniors, either Nicholas Golden or Reggie Sanders. And you can also reach our department at eprograms@gsu.edu with any general questions you may have. For environmental safety, which would be myself and Sierra Sutton, we manage and dispose of universal waste, one of the primary responsibilities for our team. This would include several widely generated items across campuses, such as batteries and light bulbs. Batteries are one of the most highly generated waste types in office settings. These items can contain mercury, lead, cadmium, and therefore pose a risk for individuals' exposure to those chemicals and ecological damage. Please note they cannot be thrown away in the trash. You can set up a designated battery recycling location in your break room or workspace using a plastic bin or a small shopping box that has been labeled battery recycling. When this box is full, you can contact our office for a pickup. Some of you may have some of the older brown containers to the left there that you can see that sustainability used to give out. If you don't, that's not a problem. Our department can provide updated containers if needed. Light bulbs or lamps. Two main types of light bulbs are fluorescent lamps and high-intensity discharge lamps. They can both contain mercury, which requires them to be appropriately disposed of to prevent discharge into air or water. Make sure that you do not throw these into the trash as well. They need to be kept in a safe space where it's unlikely to be damaged. However, do not create or maintain a collection area for them. A pickup must be requested each time a single lamp is ready for disposal. When it needs to be disposed of, you can contact our department for a pickup. And generally, we get onesie twosies of these from different offices or labs. The majority of these we get directly from facilities. Once again, I'm the environmental safety officer, and I work with Sierra Sutton, who is the research safety specialist for environmental programs. Thank you.
Jennifer, you're muted.
Am I still muted? No.
No, you're
Okay.
good. We can hear you.
Okay, great. We're going to go through the Q&A. And so we've got a lot of questions over here in the chat function. So if folks have the ability to add their questions there, that's great. We're going to work through those. And then afterwards, I'll see if there's anybody else from the floor that had a chance to type but who wants to ask a question verbally. So the first question, do we have access to receptacles to sort all those different recycled materials? They only have paper, plastic bottles, and cans. And so that's question one. And if you have other materials, so the standard centralized waste station that we have is in 4 bins: plastic bottles, cans, paper, and landfill. If you're missing any of those, or if you need to add a different material, like I mentioned, if you have a bunch of cardboard and you just need a, so what you should do is go to the work order and say recycling makeover, right? or request a new bin, either one of those. And then just let us know, hey, we need a bin for an office for this specific room. We need to collect this material, whether it's cardboard or paper, and we'll bring you a properly labeled bin. If you have a bin that's not labeled, also do a work order letting us know, because sometimes we miss it. We deploy them and we don't realize, right, that we haven't labeled them. So if you guys need a bin or you need a label, the best way to do that is to submit a work order and letting us know, and we'll bring those to you. Let's see. All right, so that was that question. You share a copy of slides. Yes, the slides will be on the website, and hopefully the recording will be on the website as well, assuming technology works. Sorry about the screen sharing piece. I removed that a little late. Do you need to remove sticker tape and labels from the boxes? If there's a whole lot, technically, yes, but really it's, if there's just a little bit on there, it's fine. Especially like, it's like that packing tape. There's a whole bunch of packing tape. Go ahead and remove that. But the stickers are on there, and the folks that take it have a way to kind of process that. So you don't really need to remove the sticker labels on things. How dry do bottles need to be? It's just dump it out, and then it's fine, right? If there's a few specks of water on it, it's really fine. It does not need to go in a drying rack. It is more that we are hand sorting through this, and if there's Coca-Cola that drips all over everything, we've had times when we empty out the bottle and there's just liquid everywhere coating every single thing, but a little bit of water that's dripped out is fine. It's going to evaporate. That's fine. So the recycling versus sustainability, it actually just goes to different people. So sustainability is other staff who is focused on other initiatives. And so recycling questions to them, they often, they won't know the answer to, because they're not the ones running the recycling program. Recycling, Denitra is going to see those. And I'm going to see those too. She usually responds to it, but she's in the field a lot more than I am. So it might be something that's more urgent that I will see. Otherwise, she'll see it and respond to that. But the sustainability emails, the staff that sees that, Denitra will not see that. And a lot of times she's the one that needs to see that. So she will see the recycling one. You can also email Denitra directly. It's just that it's easier to remember recycling than to remember people's names. So that's kind of how we established that. Staples are fine. No big deal. Glad that y'all love the hard to recycle roundups. We're really pleased with that. How do we get surplus moved to the Atlanta campus from Clarkston? I know the answer, but I'm going to let Roderick answer that question.
Well, basically what we'll do, once you put a request in Access Works, we'll schedule a day that we'll come pick it up. We'll just pick up your materials, pick it up, and we'll bring it out here. You don't have to bring it out here. We'll come pick it up.
And vice versa. If someone orders a table, you'll also bring it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Within reason. Right.
Okay. What's the caveat?
Well, I mean, because we're short staffed, so we don't want to, feel like, we want to bring 30 desks or whatever, stuff like that. So we don't want to, overload us, because we just, like right now, we just have one truck right now. So
Yeah.
can't do any moves, anything like that right now. The only thing we're doing right now is just picking up surplus right now. So just doing as we can, but best we can right now. We got 2 trucks in the shop.
Yeah. Okay. I hear that. So do we need to make an appointment to visit surplus? I think you'd already answered that question. But no, just, let Roderick know that you're coming, so he expects you. And then the other question, is that all surplus items or just furniture? So are you asking, Sarah, what are you asking in that second question? What's at the warehouse? Sarah Clark, are you on the call still? Yeah, okay. Roderick, I assume that if someone wanted to shop for a keyboard or a mouse or something like that, they could also get that from you guys too, and not just
Yes, they can get that from us. And also we We pick up the toner cartridges. We pick up used and unused. We pick up those up.
Yeah. Okay. Can departments request surplus items? Yes, we've answered that. Yeah, is there a way there's not a way to coordinate that directly. It would have to go through Roderick for now, but I think we are seeing other universities having a way to communicate between departments. So that's a thing that I think we could talk about exploring and seeing if there's a way to navigate that so that yeah, right now it's got to go to Roderick first, and then it can go.
Yeah,
to
because
another
what I
department.
do is like what I try to do is like the department reach out to me and say I'm looking for something. And then like if I go through my work orders and they see something that is surplus and something like that, I might say, hey, this department is surplus in this. You might if you got a chance to go there and look at it, might want this, and you might just get it from there. So we won't have to come pick it up. But
Yeah,
that's why just communications. So we want to come pick it up, or you can just get it from there. So that's why I try to communicate to me what you want. So I might
Yeah.
get, might you see it, while it's there. So we want to make the trip, bring from out there to here to back and stuff like that. So that's what I try to
awesome.
do. So
Okay. Question about, is there a cost to shop? We said no, there's no cost to shop. There's a question for e-waste. We need to separate cords, mice, keyboards, etc., or can we commingle? And Roderick, you're saying we don't have to separate the keyboards. And then Erica Bracey's got a great comment. She's got the link to Charm, and she's got a good point. They do charge for some services. It's not a lot. The most I've ever seen is maybe $20, maybe $10, depending on the material. But yes, there is a charge. And then she's also got a link for eCycle Atlanta, which I guess is free for e-waste, which is awesome. And they'll do free pickup for donations, but this is for personal things only, which is what she's emphasizing. And Roderick will also emphasize this. This is not for GSU waste, but also Roderick is not for personal e-waste. So Roderick cannot take personal e-waste. So personal e-waste should go through these other resources off campus. But GSU resources need to go through Roderick. And then there's a bin on the second floor of the library north for disposable batteries. That's a great point. All right, another question for Roderick. How do we get the surplus moved to Atlanta campus from Clarkston? What are next steps? I think we've kind of talked around that. And I think Roderick's saying within reason he can do that, but there's also, they've got 2 trucks in the shop and there's some caveats there. Got a reference to Ridwell to get home or recycle things from the house. Do we need to remove caps of plastic bottles? That's a great question. And no, you do not need to, but they should actually be attached. So they should either be attached, or if you just have a separate cap all by itself, that's when it should go into the landfill, right? But if you have a cap and you have a bottle, screw it together and recycle it together. And that has to do with just the size. Like the machines are set up to accommodate a certain size, and if something's too small, it won't recognize it. So yes, caps on for plastic bottles. That's a great question. So is there anywhere for faculty staff to compost Atlanta campus? No, unfortunately, the only place is dining hall, and that is not for us to walk up and put our food in. That's for dining hall specifically. Is it possible to be a composting bin somewhere in the Atlanta campus? We just don't know the logistics to manage that, the pricing around that. We live in a very urban area. We already have a rats issues around campus. I'm sure folks have seen that. We do not really have the capacity to start collecting food in generic places. We have not figured that out. Are there any type of cans off limits? Any cans are fine. I mean, food cans, right? If it's a can that collected food, that's fine. We can take that. Can Amazon plastic envelopes, bubble envelopes, and or brown paper envelopes be recycled? Yes. So that's a great question. So if you have bubble wrap, if you have plastic envelopes, those can all be treated as bubble film. If you have, they're called airbags. So it's like bubble wraps, but really large. That can be recycled with plastic film. the brown paper envelopes can be recycled with paper. If it's a combination material that's like bubble wrap wrapped in metal or paper, it's like a combination, those really just have to be landfilled. You can't separate them enough for it, it's two different materials, so it cannot be separated enough. But as long as it's either plastic wrap or it's paper stuff, it can easily be recycled. We just put it with the right material. Which group recycles used printer toner? That's a great question. So sustainability helps a little bit with that, but like we do when we do hard to recycle week, we will go and pick up toners and then used toners, and then we bring that to Roderick. So throughout the rest of the year, typically that goes to Roderick. Oh, more questions. How far in advance we need to arrange to move surplus to Atlanta? I will need a couple of large round tables. It's a question for Roderick.
That's just based on what type, just what type of round tables you need, and if we have it available. So, that just how soon do you need it, and if we have it available in surplus.
Okay. Does surplus take unused printer toner?
Yes, we'll take all of them. We'll take them all.
And I see that you guys can't actually mute, so good reminder to me on that. Thank you. Can you repeat how we should request large number of boxes and toners picked up? So for boxes, go ahead and do a work order with sustainability.gsu.edu, and just let us know that there's a lot of cardboard there. And actually, you don't even need to do a work order. You just flatten the cardboard, you put it by a centralized waste station, and we will just see it and we will pick it up. That being said, sometimes someone will say, hey, we just had this big project. It's Tuesday. All the stuff showed up on Wednesday. We really can't leave it for a week. So we need a special midweek visit. So then they go ahead and do a work order saying, hey, we really can't wait a week because there's just so much. So you can do that. And then we will do our best to get there beforehand. But we really ask folks to only do that when it's urgent. The rest of the time, you just flatten your cardboard, put it by your centralized waste station, and we'll see it. The trick is you can't put it someplace else in the building. Our staff is really trained, pick up flattened cardboard by the centralized waste station. If you have a whole bunch of cardboard boxes someplace else, you might be using those to move. And we don't want to take boxes that you might be using, right? We actually had an issue where someone stacked cardboard by the recycling stations. We picked them up and then they called us up and said, oh, we were using those. And they're, and so we had to go find those materials, there's stuff in them. So, they don't walk the halls. They're not going to just find it any old place. If you put flattened cardboard by recycling, they will find it and they will get that. And then for toner cartridges, email Roderick basically and ask him, hey, we've got a bunch of toner cartridges. Can you pick those up, bring them to us for hard to recycle week? We'll take them and then we will bring them to Roderick, right? But we can't bring them out the rest of the year. Let's see. Erica Bracey says there's a huge piece of old metal HVAC equipment taking valuable storage space. I'd love to have removed. Do you think one of your recycling vendors may be able to do that? Yes, we actually do. So we should have listed this. We just don't do a ton of it, but we do metal recycling. We did a purge recently. We do this for a sculpture building a couple of times a year. Depending on the size of equipment, yes, we can come pick it up. If we cannot get it, we will help you guys figure out what third party can come and get it. So Erica, I would say if you do a work order, and just do recycling other, because I don't think we have metal as a drop down, and just exactly what you say here. We've got a huge piece of old metal HVAC. Can we take a look at that and we'll kind of help figure that out.
Well, let me ask you this, excuse me. Does it have a GSU sticker on it, or is it an asset, or is it just something that's just laying there?
That's a good point. I think sorry, they can't answer the question. So either way, if you do that work order, when we get that, we will coordinate with you and Roderick to check that out and figure out next steps on that. Can we email Roderick directly if we're looking for certain items? Maybe, but I also say he's a very small team, so it might be better just to plan to come out to look at surplus. And I think we might have some ideas on how can we kind of have some opportunities in-house to share items. So yes, Erica says anything with refrigerant in it is $75 at Charm, like a mini fridge. That yes. The Georgia Power, if you're Georgia Power, they will also pick up your refrigerators for free, but not every Georgia Power. Thank you for the folks from Staff Council. Appreciate that. So when I lived in Virginia and total recycling facilities, the labor staff preferred the plastic bottle to be unscrewed because when the bottles went through the machine, caps would pop off. Yes, so Gail's correct that some places cannot handle the caps, some places can't. It goes back and forth. So recycling is really specific to what does your specific manufacturer, what does your specific vendor require? So we have emailed our guys who take our plastic bottles to ask them so that we know for sure we're telling the right information. And absolutely, some people will say they cannot take plastic bottles with caps on. It has to be caps off. Some people will say caps on. For us and our vendor right now, it is caps on. And I don't actually expect that to change. But if you were to move to a different area, it could change based on what's available. We use enclosed recycling shipping labor for a used toner. Is that okay? I think that's okay for now, but I think we probably need to talk to Roderick about whether that process kind of continues or not, because we've sort of been doing that for a while. And he recently started being able to take used toners. So we'll talk about that and kind of close the loop on that. Sarah Clark saying, I was always taught to put flattened cardboard in the hallway for facilities to pick up. Do you know if they then put it in recycling, or have I actually been throwing away my cardboard the whole time? I would say that there's a very good chance that depending on your building, facilities is putting it in the right spot. We have designated docks that are exterior or sort of hard to get to areas that facilities knows about. Facilities will bring cardboard to. So that happens a lot. So there's a good chance that your facilities person knows where to bring the cardboard. Because what happens is our guys drive around in the specific truck for cardboard. They get cardboard that somebody else has brought from inside the building, they brought to the dock. So there's a good chance that facilities is the one doing that. I cannot say that 100% of the time
always,
but that process worked really well a lot of places. So I think that probably that process is working for you as well. Jenny, thank you for the note. If you have small lot of things for surplus, like 2 or 4 toner cartridges, can we bundle them together and ship them to Roderick via campus mailing services? Roderick, what's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, I know they probably won't. I know they're not gonna pick it up. So you just put a ticket in, we'll come pick it up. I know they're not gonna pick it up. And this data center security question, you can erase it, or I can erase it, because when machines come here, I'll either take the hard drive, destroy it myself, or use a state mandatory vendor that destroys them. So that's either or. If you want to erase them, you can, but you don't have to. Because I'll do it myself or send it to the state contract vendor.
Okay. And Gail has another question about if they have, you talk about sending stuff through campus mail services. If you have a few small things, that is one of the reasons why we do Hard Recycle Week, is so folks can bring us those couple of small things, and then we kind of save Roderick a trip because we just have a giant box, and we'll take the toners, we'll dump that in there, and then we'll facilitate with him. So he's got to just come once and pick up toners from a whole bunch of different departments. So we just did one in December. We'll do another one over the summer. And so, if folks only go through a couple toner cartridges, you could just save those up and then bring those to us, the Hard Recycle, to just make it easy. We have multiple old items that we have no use anymore and no asset tag. So it doesn't matter whether or not it has an asset tag. If it's not these other materials, it should still go to Roderick, and you can clarify with Roderick, hey, these are the list of materials I have. Do I take them? But the asset tag system is pretty new. it's my understanding. So there's a lot of things that are older that aren't necessarily formally asset tagged, but it's still GSU property. So it's still got to go through property control to be checked out properly. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Tanya. All right. So the next hard recycle week will be in, it'll be in the summertime. We've been trying to figure out exact right timing because it's, again, small 5-person crew. We got to kind of schedule that so it works with other things. If the truck's in the shop, we've had to delay that, things like that. And then, yes, and then Erica mentions we'll only recycle industrial styrofoam, so packaging. That is correct. So it's not like a Chick-fil-A styrofoam cup, or it's not egg styrofoam cup. It's just if you get an appliance that comes with styrofoam, we've got that. So that's what we can take, and we do that through work orders. So I don't see any more questions. It's 4:04. I really appreciate everyone joining us on the call today. Great questions, and yeah, share, pass this information on. We'll share the link out to the recording and the PowerPoint. Share that with your colleagues afterwards if you can, and really appreciate everybody for joining today. Have a great one, and good luck to everybody next year as school students come back. Thanks, Erica. Thanks, Gail. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, Sydney. In the event. Yeah.